Viewer discretion is advised.
What gave the house its name back in the 1840s and 50s. Here we have 28 southern live oak trees, but these are still the original 28 oaks that were brought here during the time of the Roman family. When construction of the house started to wrap up, they wanted to create an entryway, not just to impress guests and travelers, but to also show off their wealth and status. So how they're going to do that was, instead of planting these oaks as saplings and having to spend years waiting on them to grow and mature, the trees would actually be transplanted here in front of the house. These trees had already been growing around the 1,200 acres of this property, or even from neighboring plantations. We estimate, given their age, that there had to have been about between 10, 20, even 30-year-old oaks at the time, when, after being selected by the Roman family, the trees would be carefully uprooted and on large dollies or wagon systems be brought back here and replanted in front of the house to create this massive entryway.
That's crazy.
Now, we believe they chose 28 oaks because they would represent the 28 columns that it took to build the house here. And given that process of transplanting the oaks here, that actually makes the trees older than the house itself. So the current age of these oak trees here are roughly about 200 to 250 years old, but average life expectancy for them is still anywhere at least 500 years or more.
What are your thoughts?
It kind of gave me a feeling of like what people could have been thinking or what they could have been going through, like outside of that house. You don't know what goes on, but like they had their own diseases and their own pain and suffering. So yeah. What do you think?
Well, I think that I mean, it's history, so it's good for everybody to know what the history is, regardless if it's good or bad. It's good to know the history so it won't happen again. But yeah, that's all I got.
Spinning at 1,200 revolutions per minute. The sugar is then heated and melted to a liquid state. The liquid sugar is clarified by removing solids, then boiled several times. Each boil produces a pure white sugar.
This tells you where the cotton ones were, the sugar ones, other plantations.
The sugar is then packaged by high-speed machines. This pure and natural Louisiana sugar is palletized and shipped throughout the nation. Louisiana sugar started on a plantation in New Orleans more than 200 years ago and has come a long way since then. Louisiana sugar and the products it is used in have been an important and delicious part of our lives, all of our lives. Like the sun rises and sets, sugarcane is something Louisiana has come to depend upon and love.
Sugarcane, sweet sugarcane, sweetness of our southern trees. Sugarcane.
So the slaves back in the early 1800s, they built this plantation from ground with rocks from the Mississippi River. They came and they built them. They built this whole complete mansion for the original owners. And now we're going to go to the slave quarters here. So here are a few reasons why slaves would visit the sick house. The sick house is like a hospital. They just called it the sick house. And as you could look in, you see the various reasons why the slaves would visit the sick house. You know, yellow fever, infections, pneumonia, work accidents, even childbirth. Just different things would send them to the doctor. And it would be in this room here. There's the other side to it as well. See, it's a sick house. So some of the nurses will actually be slaves that would care for their own. As you can see, the beds aren't that good. It's pretty much string tied together with some really thin, like gels today are better than this. So as you can see, it's a full community. It's a full community up there. Good morning. So this is the story of a slave that got constantly demoted from an ox cart driver to eventually the lowest class, which is a field slave. And as you can see, the field slaves, they don't have even a bed. They just over there sleeping on the floor. So yeah, field slave quarters. So they're sleeping on the floor. They don't even have a table. And this was a woman and her 5 children. And they had so imagine being in this small, tiny room with you and 5 of your children. So 220 between 1836 and the Civil War, the Civil War ended in 1865. So about 30 years, over 220 men and women and children were enslaved here at Oak Alley, dehumanized and quantified like any other commodity. They appear in sales records, inventories, and completely forgotten by history. So on this wall is all the people. Here's a landscape of slavery in the deep south. So you see this here, all the way, you know, that's what I told you, Galveston, from Galveston, all the way, you know, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina. This is basically a list of the different people. It's not all 220, but it's a list of the people, their description, and how much they were worth. As you can see, there's different titles, whether it's mulatto, and mulatto is basically a mixed child of African origin and European origin. If it says Negro, both parents were black. If it say African, then that slave is directly from Africa. And Creole, they were born in Louisiana. So there's different prices that you can see here. Now, how do you feel about them keeping this place like still alive and relevant?
Two different ways. One, I think it's good to know the history in the fact that it's not buried like the rest of our history. So even though this might represent something very bad that happened during that time, they didn't just hide it and discard it like they do everybody else.
Okay. From the other perspective?
It's kind of like a hurtful thing because it's a reminder.
Right. And there's many down this road. It's plenty of plantations down this road. On the other side of that mound there, far down at the end of that road, is the Mississippi River. So what they would do is, I'm assuming that they would bring slaves if on boat down the Mississippi, and this road here wasn't a paved road. It was probably a dirt road, and they would probably bring, you know, slaves on a horse and buggy, and they would just come down this road here to here, the big house. And behind the big house, as we'll show you later, is the slave quarters. So